shawl, hand me down, old shotgun. She hate to leave you alone. Shade Road, my little miss. Shade Road, I say. Shade Road, my little miss. Soon be on my way. My music really began, the earliest music memory of any sort that I had was, no idea how little I was, but I was small enough to fit very comfortably in my grandmother's lap while she would sing. Her name was Addie Graham. She was from McGoffin, Morgan, Wolf County area. That's kind of around between the Licking and the Red Rivers, and had a great influence on my music. She sang all the time. Nobody else in the family paid much attention to it. It was just kind of background noise. But when I was living up north in high school, the folk music revolution came along, Kingston Trio and that sort of thing. I got kind of caught up in that. And after being in that for a while, I began to notice that some of the songs that people were singing were ones that I had heard all my life, only the folk trio versions didn't sound right somehow. I started listening back to my grandmother's music and got kind of swept up in something that's still going on with me. I have sung a lot of her songs. I've produced a recording of her music, and which has gotten around, and I'm working now on a compilation of recordings of her songs that other people have done. But I would like to do several of those for you now, and so happens that fate has sent a couple of wonderful singers to be with us in the form of the Ritchie girls, Susie Ritchie and Judy Hudson. I'm going to ask that we have sung this song together before. I'm going to ask them to come up in here and sing this with me and hopefully all of us. And Beth, would you come too? You don't know the words. No, you don't have to know the words. It's okay. She was a primitive Baptist. And that was, in their church, they did not use musical instruments. She learned to play the piano as a young woman, but that's another story. But they sang unaccompanied and very slow, kind of hard singing in a lot of ways, very ornamented, and very deeply satisfying if you ever want to get into it, even though the songs themselves are all about how dismal it all is and how great it's going to be to die and go someplace else. So come on up here. And in the church tradition, someone would lead the song by lining out, sort of chanting out the words, and then everybody would sing. So I'm going to sing the first verse, and then we'll line out, which just to give you all the melody, and then we'll line it out the rest of the way. The gospel ship has long been sailing, bound for Canaan's peaceful shore. All who come are welcome thither. Welcome, welcome, rich and poor. Now y'all join in, don't hold back. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Hark the sailors loudly cry. Hark the sailors loudly cry. Say the blissful port of glory. Say the blissful port of glory. Open to each sailor's eye. Open thee. Sail with us on life's rough sea. Sail with us o'er life's rough sea, and with us you shall be happy. And with us you shall be happy, happy through eternity, happy through eternity. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Hark the sailors loudly cry. Hark the sailors loudly cry. Sing the Lord of glory. Sing the blissful port of glory. Open to each sailor's eye. Open to each sailor's eye. Well, besides the religious tradition, my grandmother grew up in a kind of the ballad singing part of Kentucky. When she was a fairly young woman, she married my granddaddy, who had no religious objections to music or much of anything else. And so he bought her, musical instruments, he bought her a piano, and she sat down and picked out, she developed a piano style by ear that was kind of a rendition of banjo style, sort of a two-finger style, which has inspired some things that I do, not exactly this one, but this is her version of Wild Bill Jones. And many of you have heard this before. If you know the way that I do it, or a lot of people do it, you're going to feel like the timing is a little unusual. It's because recently I had a cousin who passed away, and some cassette tapes from my household ended up at my house, and I found a little scratch of Addie playing this on the piano. I'd never heard it before, but her timing was unmistakable, and so kind of deep Eastern Kentucky that I just decided I'm going to try to do it that way. This is called Wild Bill Jones. My true love her side, and I made him leave her alone. Some say that love is pleasure, Lord, no pleasure do I see. One that I love as dear as my life has now gone back on me. I got mixed up in an awful fight, and I fell into the county jail. Saddest words that ever I heard was when she wouldn't go my way. I wrote my love a letter, Lord, asking her to pay my fine. She wrote me back in a week or so, saying, darling, come home sometime. One dog granddad who gave one dying moan. Rolled his arms up around her neck, saying, darling, you were left all alone. Some say that love is a pleasure, Lord, no pleasure do I see. Lord, today was the last of that Wild Bill Jones, and tomorrow be the last of me. Pass around that long neck bottle and we'll all get out on the street. Today was the last of that Wild Bill Jones, and tomorrow be the last of me. There's a whole other musical tradition that she ran into about that same time that she was getting the piano and working out the banjo style. They were building the Ohio and Kentucky Railroad, which was to go from Jackson on the Kentucky up to Maysville on the Ohio. It never got to Maysville, never even actually made it to Moorhead. But what it did do was to go into an area where they mine something called Cannel Coal. It's an area that's, if you look on maps, if you are paying attention, you can even see signs on the landscape of a place called Cannel City, which was one of the first coal camps in eastern Kentucky. Cannel coal was so called because it was so rich you could light it with a match and it would burn like a candle. And so this was the first, kind of the beginning of the coal era in Kentucky, which is perhaps coming to an end. But the people that built that railroad apparently were African Americans from the Deep South who had recruited to come up and work on the railroads, and many of those folks stayed in the area where they were recruited to come and work in the mines. And they were playing a kind of music that Addie had never heard before. But she was like a human tape recorder. What they were singing, she was learning and sang it for the rest of her life. This is one of those, if I can ever get this thing cornered. Don't you know that's wrong? Don't you know that's wrong? Love another man and you don't love me, don't you know that's wrong? Don't sidetrack that man. Don't sidetrack that man. Sidetrack that man. Come and go with me, you know.